I guess. All right, what's up, everybody? It's the first time I've ever been late. It's 7:01. I can't believe it that I'm late, but at least I'm better late than never, right, guys? All right, so you guys know the drill. If you're new and you don't know, it takes me a minute to set up everything that needs to be set up during live. So let me go to my YouTube channel over here and try to set everything up. Otherwise, happy Saturday to everybody. And if you're on the other side of the planet, then happy Sunday to you. And hopefully we'll have a big crowd here tonight. I've been chatting with people. People message me wanting to be on the show or about different stuff. And not everybody, unfortunately, would be perfect for a 1 hour podcast. So I try to steer people to this if I don't feel like it would be like a 1 hour podcast. So hello, Dana. Hello, Mitchell. Patty Label 07. Hello, White Dove Houston. Kathleen Turner. And I have a new setup. I think that once I set it, I can be able to just glance here and hit the chat. So that's something I'm going to be working on today as well. So anyways, let me finish setting up. And for those of you that are here and want to join, you just need the Zoom app, which is free. And in the description below is the Zoom ID and passcode. And then I'm also going to put the Discord in case you want to join Discord. Let me turn this on and click save. And that should be good. Let me go back to details and let me get the Discord. And let me grab that from Discord because Discord's got to give me a brand new link. So let me get that. Copy. And put that there. Paste. All right. So Discord is there. Zoom is there. Let's do this. Turn it on the live stream and add this. And that will be how, if people are searching for me, I've got to put some key or whatever, tag words or whatever. And what's interesting is one of the ways people find me is they search JeffMara, but they type it JEFF space MARRA. So I use that. Mara podcast live and all right, so that should be pretty good. Let's see. I think I'm almost done setting up, and I don't have anybody here. A lot of times I have people here waiting for me, and I don't have anybody waiting for me. So if you want to join, it's completely open right now. Okay, that is all on. Let me grab a shareable link, and I'm going to put it on my Facebook page. I do have a JeffMara Facebook page for the podcast. So if people are on Facebook, they might catch that we are live. And that is there. And I think we'll be okay. Let me go back here and see. Okay, let me see if I can get actually into the video and so I can have it next to me. Okay, cool. So I'm going to try moving my chat right in my visual area so I can see the chat. It's just in my vision. So, and we got Mary T already here. So let's get her in and get started. Okay, and I'll have this up, joining. All right, so while we're waiting for Mary, I'll say hello to some people. World of Dr. Evermore, hello. I spoke with this woman today, and she has an amazing story about her father. Eventually, she will share. So we'll be happy to see her. Callisto Montserrat, hello. Thank you for watching. Mary, can you hear me? She can't hear me yet. I just realized her audio is not on. It's connecting. If you can see that right there. Shows she's almost there. I have to say, ask to unmute. I hope you will join us one day, Lizette. Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeff.
All right. Welcome. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I really like your show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Where are you Zooming from?
I'm currently in Virginia.
And
Alexandria,
where? And what was that again?
Virginia.
Oh, in Virginia.
That's right.
Are you caught in the snowstorm up there?
Sort of, but it started to clear up now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I wish we could have. I'm down in South Texas, and we don't really get much snow, if ever, or hardly ever. I wish we could have a little bit.
Yeah, it barely snows there. The weather is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I've been to San Antonio once. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Right.
Right. Are you in the military?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because this is like military city. So a lot of people wind up here for something with the military at some point in their career.
Right. Yes, Texas.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you have to share with us tonight?
So I have written down my main points. So my journey to the spirit world began when I initially met my fiance to be. He's now in the spirit world. So shortly after meeting him, I basically started having a spiritual awakening. Not so much of out of body experiences to start with. It was mainly like psychic dreams. So I started having like dreams and stuff. And then once he transitioned, we started meeting in like the spirit realm. So the first time we met was, so I was asleep. I had a friend come over for a few days. Shortly after she left, so I went to bed, and shortly after that, I realized something was just different, out of the ordinary. So my spirit left my body, and then I just felt this hug right behind me. And then I was just praying, and I was just like, just asking God, I hope, this is just, I'm safe. And then that was that now. And then exactly a month when he transitioned, I was asleep again. One night, my spirit left my body, and then I found myself in my astral bedroom. So right behind me, I just started to like hear in my bed like some sort of noise. And then again, I started praying. And then I literally like stood up right by my bed, and I had a body. And then when I looked down, it was a dog that I used to have, who's in the spirit world now. He transitioned in 2017. And then when I saw him, he was young. He had a purple color. He looked happy, radiant. And I was just calling his name. Oh my God, I can't believe you're here. So I got up, walked over to my astral living room. But unfortunately, the meeting didn't last too long. So shortly after that, we went back to the bedroom. And then when I looked down, he was like around my legs. And then shortly after that, I woke up. So that was another event. And then a few days after that, mind you, in the meanwhile, I'm having psychic dreams, like what about to take place in the next like day or two. So few days after that, in between being asleep and I woke in the morning, in like my spiritual eyes, I saw this beautiful sight of heaven. So the veil lifted, the spiritual curtain lifted, and then once the mist clears up like this, I saw nature. I saw beautiful trees. It's like Earth, but at its perfect state. I saw the trees, and then, but I was only able to see what I'm allowed to see. And then I was able to see the trees, and then my attention gets taken to look to the left. And then when I looked to my left side, there was these like birds that were radiant, healthy, just beautiful. And then my attention again gets directed towards like the bottom. What I'm seeing is this crystal blue water, beautiful. So the Bible actually talks about the crystal blue water and then the heavenly side. And then shortly after that, I found myself in this beautiful galaxies. It's dark. And then there were all these stars, just so beautiful. And then universes, there were many, many, many. And then I remember saying to myself, this is just so beautiful. I've never seen such a thing like this. And then shortly after that, I started to come back to my body. And then after that, just like every time I go to bed, right before I fall asleep, like in a flash, I would see beautiful summerland sights, meadows, trees. It's like a flash. I see it, it disappears, then I see it, it disappears. And then I've also noticed it's like I'll be laying down on this side, and then I'm also it felt I have awareness of what's going on. So it's like my astral bedroom become this beautiful summerland.
Are you having these experiences spontaneously, or you can have them at will?
It's not at will. It just happens. And it happens usually when I relax and right before I fall asleep. Mm. And then another event that took place, one time I was asleep, and then I had my alarm on to go to work, and the next thing what I'm realizing is I'm sleeping through my alarm, and then I'm hearing this beautiful whistle sound. Once it goes, two it goes, the third time is loud, it wakes me up. So I believe that must have been my spirit guides. It was just such a beautiful whistle sound. And then shortly after, like I used to suffer from depression for so many years, and I was on antidepressant. So I would get on it for a few months, and I'll get back on it. I'll get on it, and I'll get off it. And then I was on antidepressant, and then one time I was at work, and out of the blue, like I start to feel this love in my heart. This love is something like I've never felt in my life. I don't think there's such love like this on earth. It was bliss. If I have to describe it, it would be like honey, amber, warm, radiance, tiny particles of light. And then it's like I could feel it in every cell of my body. And then it never stopped.
Well,
So then,
do you think that these experiences helped your depression?
yes, I'm depression free.
Oh,
So
awesome.
a day after that, I knew this was divine intervention. I just knew I was healed. So this was close to 2020 Thanksgiving. I remember I had a doctor appointment for general checkup, and then my doctor was saying to me, "Are you sure you want to get off it? We're closer to the holiday season. Many people are on it. Do you really want to? Because you might gonna need it." And I told her no. I believe by then I was off it a good few days, and I never needed it after that.
That's amazing. That's
I
fantastic.
never needed it. Yes. And it's just this love. Whenever I'm in that relaxed state, the whole time I just feel the love. I just feel there's no word to describe it. Because I was also going through this dark night of the soul. You know, I also lost two brothers prior to that as well. And, I didn't have any immediate family members around me. And there is that big hole in my heart. I was just like so sad.
Yeah.
And that hole is no longer there. It's just filled with love instead.
Do you feel now that or do you have a knowingness now that your brothers are there okay on the other side?
They are okay. I'm going to tell you this. So after this, one night I fall asleep, and then my spirit leaves my body again, and I'm praying to Jesus, like, make this like a pleasant experience. The next thing I realized, I didn't even know I exit out of my body. It was like I woke up in my astral bedroom again, and then there were these screens, TV screens. They weren't hooked to anything. They were widescreen TVs. And then in one of the screen, I'm seeing my little brother, the seventh child, my mother's favorite. And I was like, oh my God, that's my little brother, King. And then as I saw him, there was someone guiding me, but I couldn't see the face. But I believe it was the language was both telepathic and word. And the word were in my native language, which is Amharic, which is Ethiopian. And then from my little brother, there's another screen there, and he takes me around in my astral bedroom. And then he shows me, he says, look close, look close. And then me being shy and scared, I'm trying to pull away. And he was like, look close, who's this? Look close. And as I'm getting closer, this is my other brother's, Thomas, that's in a spirit world. And I was like, I know who that is, that's my brother. And he was like, look close, look close. And my brother still looked young. My brother Thomas looked, when he transitioned, he was like 30, 36, 37. But when I saw him, he looked like in his early 30s. And then shortly after that, I went back into my body.
Well, Mary, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to run. I give everybody about 10 minutes, but I want to say thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. I appreciate you, and you're always welcome to come back next Saturday.
Okay, I will. Thank you for having me, Jeff. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So she basically confirms what some people will say, and that is that a lot of people are about 30 on the other side. What do you guys think about that? And we got our friend from Bulgaria, I think, again. There he is.
Hello, Jeff. Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome. How are you today? It's Gulpan, right?
Gopal, yes.
Gopal, there you go. I just see you under Ananda today.
Well, yeah, I forgot to change the name, so
Well, that's okay.
it's yeah. Well, I maybe we can talk about
What's going on in
because
Bulgaria?
well, things are heating up a little bit. There will be a, you know, the weather is fine. It's not too cold. It's raining a little bit, but it's not like when I was little. I remember here, you go outside. The winter, came around October, November, already snowing. And then it finishes in March, still maybe snow. Now snow, almost nothing of snow. Sometimes on December a little bit.
Well, let me ask you this before you share with us. Now, aren't you guys neighbors with, what is it, Romania?
Romania.
Are you neighbors? Is that the country where Dracula is from?
Yeah, yes.
Have you been to his castle?
I haven't been, but it's interesting because recently I heard some historians here in Bulgaria argue. Well, they were debating or something, and they said that there is some documents that Graf Conde Dracula, or Graf, or I don't know what's the pronunciation about the title. He was actually Bulgarian, a descendant or something like that. So, and that's pretty much what I know about him. And I haven't been. Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Now, you've seen UFOs, right? You told us last time.
Yes. Yeah.
This question goes out to you and everybody in the audience. I just saw that there was, I think, a major sighting in Chile. Did you happen to see that?
I did not see that, but I saw other sightings because I'm, I don't know if you know that channel Secure Team 10, Tyler. Yeah, well, it's very good. There is lots of UFO sightings, and he's sifting through them, and he's really honest guy. So I always watch it, and there is really, really great UFO sightings there. You can see them really clearly sometimes. And have you heard about the Turkey UFO incident in I think it's called Lüleburgaz? Did you heard about this?
No, I have not.
Yeah, this is a famous one. You can go and search it, and you will see a photographer in 2008, I think, and he was filming something in the night, and then he zooms out and you see this craft. You can see everything, and you can see that the heads of the creatures or the extraterrestrials there, moving and everything. It's really clear.
Like in the windows?
Yeah, it's suspended in the air above the I think it's above the ocean or something, and he zooms really closely with this really powerful camera, and then you can see them, and you can see the craft from afar, and then from a very near, and you can see inside clearly the heads moving. And
wow.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that. That's on YouTube?
I think you can find it. If not, I will send it. If I find it, I'll send you a link.
That would be great.
Into Facebook.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, and I'll put it in my Discord for everybody else to see.
Yeah, it's. I think it's the best UFO, footage I ever seen, and there are people who have analyzed this. Really, people who ufology people who analyze this footage, and they said that it's 100%. According to them, it's authentic. So that's pretty. Yeah. So
yeah, there is a guest I'm trying to get on. Her name is Paula Lepizzi Harris, I think. And anyway, she talks about that there was actually, there's the famous Roswell crash in 1947, but there's 3 crashes all around the same time. One in 1945, and I don't know the third one, but the one in 1945 was here in my city or around my city, San Antonio, and I've never heard of it. I don't think most people have even heard of it. So I'm trying to get her on the show to talk about that, and I'd like to. What would be amazing is if she can tell us where it is, then I can go out there and shoot some video and show it to everybody, the crash site.
Oh, that would be awesome. And
Yeah.
I'd really be interested to see that. So
Yeah.
I follow your videos, all of
Thank
them.
you.
I even recently, because when you post a new video, I go and watch it, but I haven't had the time to watch some older ones. So recently I started through the old ones, through the first ones, and then go down. I think I watched them all already.
Yeah.
And so
I know
it's really.
I'm sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. I know I've had one guest, and I can't remember which guest it was, but he said he could see the UFO through the UFO window and see the aliens. So it's nice to hear a confirmation that you saw it too.
Yeah. No, I haven't saw that
I mean,
myself.
on the video.
Yes, on the video. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, there are several of these. I remember one of your guests. I think he said that he was in a trailer or something, and then in the night, and there were some fireworks, and he saw when they flashed, he saw them the heads, because the craft was like metallic round, and then there was window all around the craft, and they were moving there and watching the fireworks. And he said I could throw. Is that was this one?
I think that's Ronnie Dawson.
Yeah, he said I could throw a stone and I could hit the craft so near it was. I remember this one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. It's great one. Yeah.
So what do you have for us tonight? You got anything new in your life?
Well, many things. Life is an adventure, and always new things popping up. Well, I can share some things if we have a time, maybe for one or two, because I have many things. Maybe the most interesting would be the some phenomenons here in Bulgaria, which I went and I witnessed something interesting, and then maybe the UFO, but I don't know if we have time. Mm-hmm. So last time I said to you that there are these mysterious mountains here in Bulgaria, which are the Rhodope Mountains.
Right.
And they go across Bulgaria all the way down to Greece. You know the Mount Olympus. We went to Mount Olympus where the gods are, Zeus and everything, but they are on the Greek border down. So these mountains are all connected, and there are lots of really big landmarks and these phenomenal sites and things that you can go and visit, and there are really strange things around. You can see carvings on the rocks and formations and all kinds of writings on there from really past civilizations and things. So there are three of them which are really famous here in Bulgaria, which are Christ Forest, Karajov Stone, and Belintash. So they're like 6 or 7 kilometers, and they form a triangle. You can visit one and then you can go to the other one. But if you go walking, it's really rough terrain, a mountainish. But if you go with the car, you have to go all over like 100 kilometers or something like that. Okay, but we went to the three of them, and Belintash is actually a place really high in a hill, and there is a really huge boulder. But I'm talking about the boulder is like a huge government building this size, really big, like somebody put it there, and it's like it's not round, it's with edges, like somebody carved it on and put it there, really big. So you go there, and you go on the top of this boulder, and on the boulder there are all these carvings and like scooped with like little balls. Somebody scooped them, but they're in the rock. I don't know how they did that. This is from ancient times, and all these things, and there is water on these balls inside the boulder. This water on the summer, it's like 40 degrees, really hot because it's, there is no shallow, but they never evaporate. The water never evaporates from there. It's really, yeah. So we go there, and we leave the car like down, because you have to walk. And then I see, I want to film, my phone, I remember clearly, it was 74% battery. My Samsung phone, it was new phone. I want to film it. I want to make a video. So we go there, we walk, and then as you go through the forest, walking to this place, we noticed that some trees were snapped, like somebody, like toothpicks. They were broken, really huge trees, 3 or 4, really eerie, And then we go onto the boulder, and suddenly I see my battery 15% on my phone, and I say, well, that's strange. And then I wanted to film something, and then in a few seconds I see 10%, which is like, you have to wait like at least 15 minutes or something, and then it died. The phone died. So how is this possible? And then you always have a feeling that somebody or something, there are something in the air, or somebody is watching you. It's a really eerie feeling, really strange. And then the interesting part was, we go back to the car after 1 hour, whatever, when we finish 2 hours. I sit on the car, I want to charge my phone, but there is no need, because my phone was 74% again. So
wow, that's amazing.
I was shocked. And then I went to the internet, and there is a really famous YouTuber here in Bulgaria, which he goes to these sites and films things and stuff. And he said, absolutely the same story. My phone died, and then it was like the battery was okay after that. But you go there, the phone dies, the drone doesn't work, the cameras stop, you can hear things around. It's really strange, and this is one of the stories. And if we have time to say the other one, if not, next time.
I kind of don't have time.
Of course.
But what would be amazing is if you took like a video camera and then videoed your phone,
Yeah. Oh.
When it's 74, then you go to the boulder and show it dead, and then go it back and show it's full. Is that place far from you?
No, not here in Bulgaria. Nothing is very far. The country is like from the farthest point to the other one, it's like 500 kilometers, and nothing is far.
Yeah, if you ever get out there, that'd be great.
Yeah, if I told you, you are welcome. I will be really happy to have you here with your wife and your family, and we can go and visit some really great spiritual places. It will be.
I hope when all this, when everything is back to normal, we can do some traveling, and then maybe we can take you up on that.
Absolutely. That would be absolutely great, and we can invite other NDEs. And I invited next week. I have an interview with Sharon Milliman. I don't know if you know about her.
Oh yeah, I know her very well. She's a very nice woman, and I've had her as a guest a long time ago. She has been struck by lightning, I think 3 times.
Yeah, and she drowned when she was a child, and she saw Jesus a few times, once in the church and with her friends. Yeah, we have a communication with her, and she's a friend. And now next week I will talk to her. That would be great. And so
she's a lovely woman. Please tell her I said hello.
Absolutely. That would be great. Yes.
All right, bud. Well, thanks for joining us. If you have time and if you're awake, I hope to see you next Saturday or any other Saturday.
That would be awesome.
Thank you so much for staying up late and joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And thank you for the great job you're doing and the service to humanity. And thank you, Jeff. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Take care, Gopal.
Bye-bye. Namaste.
Namaste. All right. So we got, we're on a roll tonight. We've got 3 people in a row. That's great. Hopefully we'll have somebody else coming up next after this. This is Cricket Ovation 2. So I'm assuming that is their service. We'll see who Cricket Ovation 2 is. And we're up to 214 people. So if 1% of you decide to come and share. That's 2.14 people. So perhaps very shortly we'll have 2 more people in line. As you can see, it is really relaxed. The audience loves this. The audience will love you, so there's no need to be nervous. And I hope you come and join. So let's see. I'm going to tell Cricket to start their video. And so here's something that I'm working on, an idea that I'm working on. And I've done probably at least 200 NDE interviews so far. I have a huge catalog of NDEs. And I'm thinking about starting, well, I guess I'll have to tell you later. She's connecting to audio. Let's see. I think she'll be here any moment. Okay, she's connected. Now I've got to ask her to unmute. Oh,
did I unmute?
You unmuted. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm in bed. I'm not feeling very good tonight, but
I'm sorry to hear that.
I thought I'd say hi.
So you've been here before, right?
Yes.
I know. I recognized you. What is your name again?
Tina Thomas.
Tina Thomas. All right. And where are you from again?
I'm in Texas.
Texas. Why didn't I remember?
I'm here with you.
Yeah,
Hey, you're from Lancaster. I'm from Palmdale.
Right.
And
Right. That's right. We talked about that. Yes. And you're up there by Texarkana.
Right outside of Dallas.
Oh, okay. Close. Not close enough though. But yeah, I remember now. Sorry, I see so many people. Sometimes I just can't remember everybody. I feel like my memory is pretty good, but it needs to be better.
Well, ditto,
Mm-hmm. So it looks like you're just lounging around, hanging out.
I am. I'm hanging out, watching your show.
Oh, thank you.
So, yes,
so
of course. I watch it every day.
Are you getting better? You said you weren't feeling well.
I'm just a little under the weather today, so.
Oh, I understand that. For a few days, I had like just sinus congestion. It was like, it was weird because I felt cold, like as if I almost had a fever, but I checked myself and I didn't really have a fever, but I just kind of felt like like cold a little bit. It was weird, because usually when you have a fever is when you get the chills, and I kind of had the chills with no fever, but luckily in a couple days it was okay, and I'm back to normal.
Yeah, I got the chills, so I'm in here with my down comforter and
nice
my hoodie on.
So, do you have anything new for us?
Well, I was going to share my experiences with my son.
Yeah,
let's
hear about it.
Okay. So before he was born, before I was ever pregnant with him, he was asking me to be his mother, which I didn't tell anybody that I was having this experience because it's kind of weird. And I had just had my daughter, and she was barely a year old.
So he was telling you this in a dream, or how was he telling you he wanted you?
I could just feel him around me, and I could telepathically hear, you're supposed to be my mother. I need to be born. And my doctor told me not to have any more children because I nearly died with my daughter. I had to have an emergency C-section, and it was just really bad. I had congestive heart failure, and it was bad. So I wasn't supposed to have any more, but I went ahead and got pregnant with him. And after he was born, I brought him home. He had a rough birth, and he was in an incubator for a little while, but he aspirated as they did a C-section for him too. And then when I brought him home, I had him laying on my chest in bed, and the next thing I know, I was floating above my body watching, and I knew I was dead. My heart had stopped beating. And I was not really having any emotions about it, just kind of like witnessing, and all I could hear was the beating of his heart. That was the only sound I could hear. And I thought, how so sad that he's laying there and his mom is dead, And when I started to think that, I wanted to get back in my body, but I couldn't make my heart remember how to beat. So his was right on top of mine. And it was like my heart was listening to his heartbeat. And it started to beat in time with his. And then before I knew it, I was back in my body again and just like gasping for air. And what a trip.
Wow. Would you have gotten pregnant if he didn't contact you prior to being so?
No. I didn't expect to have my daughter either. The doctor told me I couldn't have children, and so she was a surprise. I didn't really want to have kids. I hadn't planned on it because I had a rough childhood, and I didn't want to mess up my kids and pass down bad genes and all this. So, but I always had a very close connection to my son. When he was 4 years old, I've had out of body experiences quite often. Like at night, I'll just go out and fly around over the neighborhood. And so it was one of those times where I was headed out and I caught him out of his body at the same time. And I said, "What are you doing?" He was out of his body, and he's only 4, and he had his superhero cape on. And for about 2 years, all he would wear was superhero pajamas and cowboy boots. And so this is what he's ready to go off with all of his friends in the neighborhood. And I was like, "What friends? I didn't even know he knew anybody." And but I felt really strongly like I have to let him go. I know he's only 4, but I had to let him go because he said, "Mama, I go save people in the universe." So I let him go. Well, shortly after that, we moved away and moved to Texas because that was in Utah, moved to Idaho, went all over the place. And then somehow after I divorced his dad, we all ended up back in that same neighborhood when he was about maybe 12 or 13. And that's where he made all of his best friends in that very same neighborhood. And all of those boys joined the military together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they really are kind of like superheroes.
Wow.
To me.
Are you having any out-of-body experiences recently?
Not recently. Well, like I had my another near-death experience like 3 or 4 months ago. But it wasn't any. It was really short. It was really quick. I was just racing through the tunnel, and I was just, praying. I was asking God, take me this time. Please let me stay this time. And it was like I had a little child mentality, and I was just like, my mom doesn't even like me. She doesn't even want me. She's not gonna miss me. Please keep me this time. But yeah, so no, but my son's he's had miracles since being in the Marines. He had to do water rescue training, and I said prayers. I said prayers to God. I said prayers to the spirit of the ocean, the nature spirits, the water sprites, the fairies, anything and everything I could think of. And so while he was out there with his buddies, a giant sea turtle joined him and swam with him the whole time. And when they were done and they were all sitting on the dock, a dolphin came and gave them a show, like as if they were at SeaWorld or something. He said it was quite long, but not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, they were doing parachute training, and one of their buddies died. And I think it was maybe a week or so later, the same exact thing happened to my son. His parachute didn't deploy. And when he pulled his emergency chute, it tangled up in the other parachute and it partially deployed, but he was just spinning and spinning, and it was a short jump. It was only 1,200 feet. So there wasn't any time to fix anything, and he knew he was going to die. But he said he landed on his feet. His legs didn't shatter. Nothing broke. His teeth didn't shatter. Nothing was wrong with him. He landed on his feet, and his buddies just came running to him and were hugging him and couldn't believe he was alive.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. So yeah, that's my experiences with my son, my supernatural experiences.
You know, last week I did a prediction show for 2022, and not many people gave their predictions. We just talked about other stuff. Do you happen to have any prediction for 2022?
Oh, let me see. I think a lot more people are going to start turning to love because they're starting to realize the way things are going. I think we're going to see a lot of acts of kindness and people turning towards love and away from the money world and the way things have been going. That's my prediction.
Oh, that's great. You know, I had a psychic on earlier this week, and one of the things he predicted was around the end of 2022, kind of the same thing you were predicting. Kind of people are going to be kinder to each other and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I'm
maybe
feeling
we'll
it.
see that.
Yeah,
That's
I hope
good.
so.
That'll be amazing.
What's your prediction?
Oh gosh. You know, it's hard for me to really predict because I watch the news so much. So I would just be giving you what's already out there. There would be no kind of prediction that would be coming from within, you know, like something psychic or something within, because I'm always watching, you know, different things of what's going on internationally, globally, in the economic world. So it would be like, if I said anything, it would be like, well, you could just read the internet and, you know, and say, and see that, you know what I mean? I wish I couldn't, I wish I could give out something special, but I don't have anything.
Yeah, I purposely don't watch the news, and everybody who knows me knows not to tell me. In fact, I had people call me on 9/11 and tell me, turn on your TV.
Wow.
Because they knew I wouldn't have my TV on.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing. All right. Well, Tina, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you showing up, especially when you're not feeling well. I hope you come back and share with us again.
I will.
And thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
All right. I hope you get
Have
well
a good
soon.
night.
Good night.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. So yes, if you like, you can give me your prediction for 2022. And that was true. That last podcast, I only had about 3 or 4 predictions. And so if you have one, you can come give one. Anyways, what I was talking about it before is I watch YouTube, since that's what I do, and I look at some other what's going on in the NDE world, and I noticed that even though my audience is so loyal and love what I do, and I get a lot of views from it, there are some people who make NDE videos, and I'm going to call them animated, but all they do is use B-roll footage. And instead of seeing the guest, you just see footage. Like when the guest says, yeah, I was in the hospital, then you're seeing like a person, a person laying in a hospital bed. And then they said, well, the doctors were working on me. And then it cuts to like a video of the doctors looking like they're performing surgery or whatever. And that is really easy to make. And now, thanks to you guys who've donated to my new computer system, or new computer, actually. Anyways, I have a lot more time because now my computer system is 7 times faster. And as I told people last week, I started posting now on Instagram, and I started posting on TikTok, making little 1-minute videos, clips. But now I'm thinking about on every NDE video, just cut out the person's telling of the story, not my questions. So you may get like a 5 to 15-minute video of them just going through their story, what happened, and make an animated version of that video. And so I think I'm going to start that with my next NDE guest, which I probably should have somebody maybe tomorrow or this week. And I'm trying to decide, I'm probably going to post it on this channel, but I thought about creating a brand new channel, just like a JeffMara podcast clips or a JeffMara NDE, where it just shows these 5 to 15-minute videos that are animated. So I would love to see in the comments what you guys think about that. And if you're wondering, I'm drinking my wife's delicious chai tea latte. It's super easy to make, but it's so much better that if you make it on your own, then you buy the box stuff, because it's just natural tea, cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, and ginger, I believe, and milk, and honey instead of sugar. And on that note, I just saw today that by 2050, 1 out of 3 people will have type 2 diabetes, which is crazy. 1 out of 3 people. So we all eat, including me, although I try to cut it out. We all eat way too much sugar. And I've taught this to my kids, and I've said this before on the channel here during a live stream, that to help you understand how much sugar is something, 4 grams, because it's usually what you see on the recipes, it'll say it has 8 grams of sugar per serving, or some types of sodas have 40 grams of sugar. So if 4 grams is a teaspoon, you're going to see that, wow, this soda, if it has 40 grams, that's 10 teaspoons. So that's insane to be drinking 10 teaspoons of sugar. And even on a lot of products you buy, like, you could go buy something like almond milk, and it's supposed to be heavy, but you may see something like 12 grams of sugar per 8-ounce glass of almond milk. So every time you have an 8-ounce glass, you're drinking 3 teaspoons of sugar. So that's my little health tip for today. The chat is very busy, which I like to see, and I saw some of my answers to my question, but they were just flying by. So what Gogo says, I don't understand what he means to do with video. So what I'm trying to say is, I can just, out of my hour-long video, let's say if Gogo, you are here giving me your NDE, usually the way if you watch my videos, you probably know this, but I introduce the guest, and then I say, okay, well, tell us about your NDE, and then it takes them anywhere from like 10 minutes to 35 minutes, and they just tell their story. Like, they were walking along the street, a lion jumped out of the cage and escaped from the zoo, and the lion bit them in the arm, and they were bleeding profusely, and then an ambulance came, and on the way to the hospital, they had an NDE, and then, once they came back, they were okay. So if I just cut that story out, and instead of seeing the guest, all you see is B-roll video, like the woman said she was walking down a street. So I belong to a video from my other videos, a video service where I can just get a random video of a woman walking down the street, and then it says a lion escaped from the zoo. So then I show there's probably a video footage there of a lion walking down the street, and then she got attacked, and then she's in the hospital. She's in the next thing is she's in the ambulance, and then I show videos of somebody laying in the ambulance or an ambulance driving by. And so it's just kind of, it's like an imaginary NDE. It's not really animated because it's not cartoonish, but it's just different. And like I said, I've seen a few channels out there and people love it. And it appears that they love that the most, more than just watching the guests. So that's something that I'm thinking about adding to it. So you can either watch the entire video and see the guest, or you can watch an animated version. Or if you happen to watch some of the other people like Joe Rogan, he does this, and I think Lex Friedman does this. They have like a secondary channel Joe Rogan does called Joe Rogan Clips, and I think Lex Friedman is called Lex Friedman Clips, and they're actually, their podcasts are a lot longer than mine. They're like 2 or 3 hour podcasts, but they cut like little 5 to 10 minute clips out of their podcast and so if you want to just watch, some certain little thing, you might watch that. I hope that helps. Horrified. I watch those videos regularly. You're going to lose me. Okay, someone doesn't like it. I prefer your format full and long, the best. Okay, maybe you can try it one time and see what we think. Okay. Let's see. Anyone know about vitamin D6 for candida? I don't know about that. Shorts page would be great. So Mitchell, are you saying a separate channel? I'm talking about berberine. I've seen those types of videos. I love watching those guests and you. Okay. Maybe half and half. So I'm not going to change my format. There's always going to be the full video. I'm just saying I'm going to add, so you get both. You get an option. You can watch the full, you can watch the animated, or you can watch both. Let's see. What makes your show special is because you connect with the guest. All right. Every NDE show does the animated thing. Don't be cliche. Okay, thank you. Wouldn't mind cutting out their backstory. Most people are saying leave them as they are. I am seeing that. Follow the low carb diet. All right. And on that note, it's 8 o'clock. An hour's already gone by. I got an hour left. I'm waiting for people. I'm surprised Stephen Cake is not here. If you're here, he's our most dedicated live stream contributor. And so we need contributors. We need people to come and share with us today. I actually promoted this today a lot. I was expecting a lot of people to be here. Otherwise, I'll see what I can come up with you. Let me look at what's coming up this week. I have a husband and wife that I'm going to be interviewing on Monday. Husband and wife, Dan and Kat, and I'm not really remembering exactly what they do. I don't think they're psychics, but they do something together. And I have a very interesting one on Wednesday. There is some famous painter that used to paint all kinds of like metaphysical or supernatural paintings, and I guess it was 100 or 200 years ago, and someone owns, I guess, the rights to all these paintings, and they created a book, or bought the rights, and they created a book of all these paintings. And so I'm supposed to have them come on Wednesday, or I'll be recording it on Wednesday, and I'll have them show some of the paintings. So I hope that'll be really interesting. And let's see, what else is there? I'm pretty sure that the rest of them this week are NDEs. And I want to say that this week, actually, I did not have one NDE podcast, but they were all great guests. And or you guys came and watched the videos and enjoyed them, because all of them, or most of them, got great views. So I was really happy to see that you guys are not only just, you're willing to watch other things besides NDEs. And so let me see if I can tell you who Dan and Kat are, because I've been working on my show preparation with them. And Dan and Kat, husband and wives, are seance hosts, mediums, celebrity occultists, and they're obsessed with exploring what lies beyond the veil. So let's see what else they do. They share their love of paranormal by showing that spirit communication can be exciting, mystical, and ultimately accessible to all of us. So husband and wife doing that. That's what we're going to be up to, recording on Monday. And we also got, I don't know if you could say, she's right up there with Stephen Cake as one of our most dedicated. Stephen has been here every single time. I don't think he's ever missed a show, but Typo's pretty darn close.
Hey there. Yeah,
Hey.
no, I can't compete with some of your real, true, like every week, beautiful people.
Yeah.
But I try. Hey, I love your idea.
Oh, that of the just the animated version?
I think you should totally play with any idea you have, and you're gonna get great feedback either way, right?
Right. Well, it's what it is this, I'm not really going to change. It's just an addition to what you already get, which is it's just a shortened version of the experience only, but like an animated version.
Yeah, it sounds great. In
Why
fact,
not?
I'm finding this week I've actually watched way more, what are those, TikTok shorts?
Mm-hmm.
Just to see, just to get a lead in. And I think that's what you're describing. And for a lot of people, they can't even, they haven't even fallen upon NDEs. It's still foreign for them.
Right.
And imagine, I'm thrilled with the wake up of when people first hear them over and over, and in that change that goes on in their head where they realize, oh my God, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be a real opening.
Right. And also, I was saying that those videos attract a lot more people than the interviews. So you may be able to pull a lot more people into NDEs, because they get I don't know why, but they get, triple the amount of views than just regular videos do.
Fabulous idea.
I guess
Yeah.
people maybe because they're shorter, they're only 5 to 15 minutes long, and people have a shorter attention span. So if they see a video and you can, when you want to click on a video, you say, oh, it's an hour long. I don't know if I really want to watch that. But if you see it's only going to be 5 minutes and 43 seconds, okay, well, maybe I'll check it out. So maybe that'll bring new people to NDEs.
Anything that works, right? So we might as well experiment. The other thing is, I noticed, I love the background you have, because anybody that comes every Saturday and watches all of your videos already knows how to download Zoom and call in if they want to share, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that a few of the people that do these actually have a little print behind them that says Zoom app and has the number right in the corner, so that and maybe that's a good way for people to realize you do a Saturday show. It's fabulous to have people just call in casually and speak for 5 minutes.
Right.
What a great way to reach people, right?
Right. And you reminded me when you were talking about TikTok, I got a super famous girl from TikTok that's going to be coming on. I have her scheduled in about a week and a half. She's Hospice Nurse Julie. If you're ever on TikTok, check her out. She blew up huge on TikTok, And now they have her like on the news and 60, I don't know, I'm not sure which television shows, but, and I think she's going to have some amazing stories of her patients. I mean, I saw one where she had been taking care of a guy, you know, terminally ill, and she was not even in the hospital, and she kind of had a shared death experience with him. He contacted her outside of the hospital as he was transitioning. And then after he was gone, someone from the hospital called and said, so-and-so just died. And she's like, I know. You know, she was just with him.
That is just amazing to hear. And that's like a perfect short. It's a perfect short. She has a ton of people that watch her, you know?
Right. So
you can build from. And is that something that you're looking at, getting other really well-known YouTubers that are marginally into NDEs but could make the jump?
Yeah, why not? You know, also it's just at the rate I go, because I still like to do a lot of NDEs. I've done about 200 in the last year, so I'm always looking for new guests. So I have to look everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. And luckily, I've grown enough now where people are starting to reach out to me personally. And I presume that at some point I'll be big enough where I won't even have to look for guests anymore. They'll just be all coming towards me. And hopefully NDEs will be so big that, you know, more and more people now, and especially the ones who contact me, have decided that they've been holding on to it. Now they're finally ready to share.
I think you brought that out. I really do, because what are they going to do? Wait for a TV spot? You know, I think you've done that. That's more power to you. Keep going. Listen, guys, we have 200 and something people in here, and I posted the Zoom app call-in number, which is below his video. So call in, because like, let's hear some cool stuff. Even if you've never called in before. I'm doing laundry and I have a hat on so that I can come on. You don't come on in, play with us.
I was going to ask you, are you cold because you have the hat and it looks like you're wearing a jacket?
I am wearing right now. I like walk around in a robe all winter because I'm in Massachusetts and it's bloody cold outside, and I'm up in an attic. So I just find that like the old Ebenezer Scrooge movie where they sleep with hats. It actually is a brilliant thing. It really keeps people warm. So when I'm up in my attic, hanging out at night, I'll wear it if it gets too cold.
So is it common for people up there that your house doesn't get warm enough?
Well, I'm in an old Victorian that's like 100 years old that we redid. So my house, it's 4 floors, right? Because it's like a slender, tall house.
Cool.
So it's not worth the whole house so I can walk on all those floors, right? Because that's what they did in Victorian era, right? So it's not worth heating the whole place at like a 75 and paying for that all year, so I can stay mostly in the kitchen and run up to the attic at night to relax. It's just not worth it. So my temperature around in my attic is about maybe a 60, and that's why I have the robe on.
So you don't heat the attic. You're just hoping all the heat.
You're lucky you're in Texas.
Yeah, right. Well, ask me that in July and August. And I'll tell you, you're lucky you're in Massachusetts. When I go to my car and it says, when I turn on my car and it says 110 or 113.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because the parking lot, it always heats up more because it's all that asphalt, right? So it'll be like crazy hot.
That is crazy hot. Wow. All right. Well,
imagine that if you came to a point where you would be like, wow, it's 93 outside. It feels good.
93. That's
how it is. Like, oh, it does. It feels pretty good outside. What is it? Oh, 93. Yeah, that's a good feeling.
That's great. Hey, can I ask your listeners? Hey guys, if anyone is in what is that called when you can talk to dead people? Which one is that? What strength is that?
I guess that's maybe you're a medium.
Thank you. If we have anybody here that has medium connections or just can feel the energy correctly, my head's 2 days on a project. I just haven't had the moment to get clear. But if anyone can get a feeling for Kirsten W., if you know that name, or you can zero in on that energy, and I'll sort of like, I'm just going to connect for the moment and make a connection. And if you are a person who knows how to connect, you feel free to connect. I'm going to just leave that there. And if you can get any indication or any feedback about what happened in the last few days before she passed, Kirsten W. was a really great YouTuber who passed away recently. And she was loved by a lot of people and did some really good investigative research. So if anybody's in there, if you want to drop a note in a chat, if you get any feeling, feel free, and I'll scan the chat for it. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks so
much. All right. Thanks for coming by, Typo.
Have a great night.
Right,
Calling. Fun. Bye.
All right. Have a great weekend. Oh, she's gone. I didn't have to remove her. And Janet's here. So Janet's next. We're up to 261 people now. So that means 2.6 people can be in line.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Okay. Okay. Start video. Oh, there we are.
Oh, you're back. Now you weren't here last weekend for my prediction show. Do you have any predictions for 2022?
You know, I don't, but I have a story that's about something that's going to go on in 2023.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. It says cashier on your shirt. Are you at work?
Does this say? Oh, it says Canon.
Oh,
no,
Canon.
I'm actually.
Okay. I saw like these things behind you, and then it looked like you're wearing an apron that says cashier. I mean, from my distance, it looked like cashier, and I'm like, oh, is she at work?
No, I'm out in my studio. It's in the garage, so I've got lots of layers on because it's chilly.
Yeah.
Out here, and I'm glazing pottery.
Oh, cool.
So this is a little plate. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, wow, it's very nice. Did you?
I made this. Yeah, I made it, and I glazed it and stuff.
Is that like did you paint that leaf, or did you get that from like a real leaf and kind of do something to make it stick to the pottery?
No, because because the kilns get up to 2167, so 2000 some degrees Fahrenheit. Mm-hmm. So this is a real leaf impression, and then so it has the darker lines. I put this is a plate I'm doing now. I put the dark stuff in and wipe it back. Mm-hmm. And then I put different colored glazes over it. So these need to be put in the kiln, and then they'll come out looking like that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You are I would assume you're a specialist at this. So what's the difference between that and china, like bone china? Is it because it's porcelain or what?
Bone china is a different kind of clay. I use just a basic Cone 5 Laguna B mix, which is just a kind of a basic plain kind of creamy colored clay. I don't really like using other clays, groggy clays, which has a lot of sand and stuff. I like smooth stuff. So that's what I'm doing. And I have some different glazes that I'm putting on. And yeah, so that's one of the things I do. I made this cool cup.
Yeah, it is cool.
I do wheel. This is hand built stuff. So this is stuff that I do using forms and my slab roller, but I do work on the wheel as well. So
yeah, I was wondering how you made the plates, because those look like they're not like something you would do it by hand. It's like in a mold or something.
Yeah, it is. I have lots of different molds that you roll it out flat and you put it over it. And does this one have a foot? This one doesn't have a foot. This one has a foot. Then you add a foot to it. Oh, cool. So anyway, that's what I'm out here doing, listening to you. Sorry, dropped my paintbrush. I was, hey, you can't see it, but this is I impressed a doily on this one that was one my grandmother had made. I don't know if you can see it very well, but anyway, so I will figure out what to do with that one. But
what would be amazing is if you could make a plate that somehow symbolizes going through an NDE, a vortex, heaven, angels, and NDE related pottery, and see if the audience would like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or a UFO on
I'm
a pottery.
I'm not, I don't like draw and paint. I do things that are more three-dimensional, even though this is not three-dimensional, but I saw something that showed me how to do it. So that's how I learned how to do it. I just watch everybody else. And this makes me happy out here. I've only been doing pottery for a couple of years. So, so this is where I am.
All right. Well, what do you got going on paranormally today? Spiritually?
Well, I was wondering, I don't know that I've ever shared this or not, but when we were talking about predictions, so one time I was meditating about a year ago, almost right at a year ago, and I was really just deep. I mean, I was like deep into it. And I don't always go real deep. I hang out in alpha, but I was like deep theta. It was deep. And this doesn't always happen, but this time, all of a sudden, I was standing in the end of the hallway of the house I grew up in Oregon, Hermiston. And I grew up all through my 18 years of home life there. And my parents have since sold that house. And of course, they've been here in Utah. And Dad's gone, Mom's still here. But all of a sudden, I was standing at the end with my back to the end of the hallway and looking down, and it had kind of a gray feel to it. And all of a sudden, my husband, my current husband, walks down really fast to the hallway to me, and he smiles, and then he steps to my right through a door. Now that door that he stepped through was one of the bedrooms that we had been in. So the closet came that way. So when you step through, it wasn't like you could see to the other side of the room because there was the side of the closet. So there was a door or kind of a doorway there. All of a sudden he steps through. So he comes up to me, smiles really big, and steps through. And I'm standing there, and I just came out of the meditation really fast, like, what was that? What is that supposed to mean? And it kind of haunted me for a while. And so one night as I was going to sleep, not long after, within the next couple of weeks, I was thinking, I was just kind of meditating and kind of praying and asking, what is that about? It's so weird because I don't often have that lucid of meditations. And so I went to sleep. The next morning, now this is the weird part. So, and that was the question I went to sleep with. So I'm assuming that these pieces meet together. As I'm dreaming, and I'm talking to a couple of people, they're over here to my left, a couple of people. I know that they're female figures. One of them has dark hair, and they have kind of white clothes on, kind of tunics with pants, and they're just kind of white. And they're telling me some really important information as I'm withdrawing and like about ready to go through kind of a door or a portal. And and I'm going, okay. And they're like, remember this and remember that. And one of the things that they said is, remember the heart-centered document. It's a heart-centered document. Remember that. And they said a couple of other things, which I don't remember. And I remember that I was about ready to go through whatever portal or door or whatever. And I remember saying, now, when is this supposed to happen? And they said, 2/2/23. Boom. And I woke up and I look over. I mean, I usually don't wake up. Like I kind of, just wake up slow. And I woke up really straight. And it was just like someone was just talking to me. It was kind of just gray, wasn't, indistinct with bright lights and kind of gray. It was indistinct other than these two women telling me something really important. And yeah. And then I looked over at my husband and I'm like, 2223. And he says, what's that? And I said, I don't know. Something's going to happen and it's big. And I need to remember it's something about a heart-centered document. And I'm not sure if it has to do with you. And anyway, it was really an odd thing because of the difference. I went from one dimension to another, just really abruptly, just like in that meditation. So something, and when I had my life between life, what do you call those? Regression therapy thing with a guy that had trained. He was really great. He asked me about that. That was on one of my list of questions to ask about. And my guide would not say, because instead of talking to me, they talked through my guide about me and said it was not just me personally, it was global. They couldn't talk about it, but there's something to do with a heart-centered document, 2223.
Heart-centered document. What is?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know what that is.
I have no idea. I don't know. I just know when I'm going to know it when I see it, it happens.
Have you just Googled just for curiosity, heart-centered document and see if anything comes up?
I haven't. So anyway, it's a weird thing. And now that I'm getting close to a year from that, I'm kind of thinking, and all of the psychics and everybody in the astrologers all talk about 22, 23, and 24. And that 22 is kind of a bridge year, and there's going to be big quantum jumps and leaps through these next few years, so much so that we're not really going to recognize our lives now after 22, 23, 24. It's going to peak in 23 and be a little easier in 24. Now that's what I have heard from several different kinds of, astrologers, psychics, channelers, those kinds of things. They all seem to be saying similar things. And I have that 2223. I don't know. It's weird.
You're gonna have to come back next year on the New Year's Eve special, or whenever that is going to be around New Year's, and remind us, so then we can be on the lookout for that. By the way, I want to run this by you. I don't know if you saw the video that I posted yesterday about heart coherence and anxiety relief.
No, I haven't watched that yet. I haven't watched that. Saw that it was up. I was going to.
Right. This doctor is some of his work is similar to Dr. Joe Dispenza's. Yeah. And he even I think he talks in there that he has been to, Dr. Dispenza's week-long events, but his is a little bit different, and he uses something called heart math. And he mentioned that I think Dr. Dispenza used to do heart math, and I wanted to know if you know anything about heart math.
A little bit. I have purchased one of their heart coherence or heart variable monitors where you stick it on your earlobe.
Yeah, he was talking about that. It seemed really cool.
So, and it's really interesting to try to get the more heart rate variability that you have, I guess the better. I'm not really sure. It has to do with if you can get your brain coherent, side to side and normal, and then you have heart coherence with your brain. That's when you're locked and loaded. That's when the portals, like you're in the space, you're in the zone.
You haven't used it much?
I did for a while when I first got it, but then in fact, I was just thinking about that the other day that I've moved. And so I still have stuff in boxes that I don't know where things are. But
was it difficult to be able to get it all linked in?
No, it was really easy app. You just plug it into your phone, pull up the app.
I'm just wondering why you did. So you got it down. I'm just curious why you stopped doing it. Was this because you already got it down and you didn't need to do it anymore?
No, I just kind of was really, I don't know why. It just kind of didn't really click for me. I kind of used it and I thought, well, this is interesting, but I'm not the kind of person that gets data stuff. Like I don't track my stuff. I do use an intermittent fasting app that I like, that helps me to not eat in the evenings. So I can do at least 16 hours of fasting in the evenings, which, you know, is good for the body. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of data back for me. I just really tune into my body. So I don't know.
I'd like to try it just a couple times to know, you know, if it's something telling you, you know, you've got it electronically telling you, okay, you're all in complete coherence, then you can go, okay, that's what it feels like. You would probably at least know what it feels like, and you can go, okay, this is kind of what something as a guide, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's what I used it for in the beginning, and then I kind of just didn't use it anymore. And the more I meditated, the more I can tell when I'm there, when I'm really in the zone.
I would think that it sounds like, from what he said, that it's kind of like, it's like a breathing technique with emotions. Would you say that's true, the heart math?
You know, I don't know. I haven't gotten into it as much. It's one of those things I keep telling myself I'm going to get back into. I'm going to get into more and maybe go take some classes and things. I know that Joe Dispenza tells a story of being asked to come and visit with the lead creator guy. I can't remember. I don't know his name, of Heart Math Institute. And he's kind of like a wizard from what I understand. And Joe told a story about, he went up into the mountains. The guy dropped him off, one of the people from the business or whatever, took him up one of the four-wheeler, dropped him off at a little cabin, and sitting outside was Gandalf. No, was the guy. And he was sitting around a campfire and they were talking, and they just thought, well, let's meditate. And then he said he woke up and he was on the floor, on the ground near the campfires, looking at the stars through the trees, and he'd had a really deep mystical experience. And he says just being in this guy's presence is supposed to be pretty incredible, because he just emits such love and compassion and has deep, deep wisdom. So he's kind of like Gandalf, I guess.
Wow. I think that the guy, my guest that was on, is now working with him on their new project. I think it's funny, I should be able to remember this, but it was like Heart Coherence or something is their new kind of way. And according to what he, you know, obviously anybody's gonna, you know, according to him, it seems like that's what works best. Well, at least it works best for him, is what he's developed.
Well, what they know from the Heart Math Institute, from the Heart Math Institute, is that, so they hooked, and what's it called? Something matrix, quantum matrix. So one of the earlier videos that Dr. Joe was on, and Eric Pearl and the Heart Math Institute guy. And what they found out is they put monitors on their heart and monitors all over their brain, and they would have a random generator of different pictures. Like one would be a child crying, another one would be flowers, another one would be puppies, and then it'd be a snake ready to bite. All of these different random computer generated random pictures that were meant to either evoke kind of a peaceful happiness or fear or something like that. So what they knew was that the heart knew before the picture came up if it was going to be a disturbing one or a calm, happy one. The heart told the brain. So it was the heart that knew first, even before that actually came up on the computer, because they had all of these timed. And then the mind knew, and then the mind sent the adrenaline through the body, or the calming stuff.
Right.
So it's their work is pretty profound.
Yeah, I've heard about that experiment before. I think it's great. All right, before I run here, I just wanted to ask you one thing. Are those birdhouses behind you?
Yes, there's some birdhouses that my dad made. This was his kind of workshop area before
That's cool.
Well, he didn't really come out here the last 2 years before he was declining, but yeah, dad's stuff is bits and pieces are still out here.
That's awesome.
Oh, and I was going to tell you, I don't love those shorts.
You don't like the shorts.
However, I know I don't love them. I like the long format, but I think that they have the place in that. Like when I'm going to hurry and, put my makeup on or do my hair or whatever, and I have 10 minutes, I put one of those on because I don't need to watch it.
Right.
I'm mostly listening. And if I have 10 minutes while I'm driving from here to town or something, I'll stick that on. So those have a place for me, but I prefer your more intimate, long format ones like you have here. But I think that those do absolutely have a place.
Right. Thank you. And I think one thing that is interesting about them is maybe they attract a completely different audience. Because there may be the audience that is willing to invest in hour-long videos is a different audience than people that are only going to want to invest 5 to 10, 15 minutes, and they want visual stuff. You know what I mean? It's
like your shorts, like the little shorts that you've been doing. I like those, the Instagram kind of type short things.
Right.
Well, it's all about having different kinds of lures.
Right.
It's just different bait.
Right.
Different lures. Some people, some like worms and some like flashy little short things. And it just depends what you're going for. So I think it'll all be great.
Well, thank you for your feedback and thanks for joining us. I've got to run to the next person.
All right.
Have a great rest
Jeff.
of your weekend. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. And we've got Sandy up next. Sandy. She'll be joining us. Prolx. I'll have to ask her how she pronounces her last name. And the chat's been very active tonight, which is cool. Sometimes I've looked over and I've seen it just kind of flash by. And by the way, I have my new chat and I can keep an eye on it. And I saw that Typo gave me a super thanks donation. So Typo, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And let's see. I think we've got Sandy's audio here. We just need her video.
How's that?
Hello, Sandy.
Well, hello, finally.
Yes, welcome. Where are you Zooming from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. I just had a guest there recently from, is it Duluth? Is that a city, Duluth?
Yep, it's north. It's north of here.
Right. He was just outside of Duluth he lives on some lake. It was Robert Aho. I don't know if you saw that one. Fellow Minnesotan.
Maybe. I don't know.
You don't look cold. You look nice and warm.
I'm indoors.
You're indoors.
Yeah, it was cold today.
It was cold today.
Cold.
Yeah, he keeps we became friends on Facebook, and I see that he keeps posting videos of the lake that he lives on, and it's just completely frozen over, and you just see snow going forever.
Yeah, that's I think most of the area around in Minnesota. Where are you again, Jeff?
I'm in South Texas. I'm like if you go west, I'm 2 hours from Mexico, and if you go east, I'm 2 hours from the Gulf of Mexico. So
wow, okay.
Last year we had that snowstorm of 2 inches and it shut everything down.
Yep. You guys don't have the equipment we do.
Yeah. So what's going on with you paranormally, supernaturally? What do you have to share with us?
Well, you had asked me to come on sometime on a Saturday because I have had many out-of-body experiences as well of it, a near-death.
Okay.
So when I was very young, and I don't know if you'll remember this part, I kind of texted it or put it in the comment section. But when I was very little, I basically was mimicking my parents, and I took an old stripped like a lamp cord or something. Now, I didn't know any different, but it was stripped and it had the ends stripped off and the plug still on the end. And I promptly put them in my ears and plugged it in.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember a cousin telling me later that, oh, he heard the loud pop. But I just remember that I was doing that, playing, and then I found myself just standing, watching everything and thinking, who is that kid on the ground? And this was in our our basement, I guess, at the time, or our lower level. So anyway, so that part is about all I remember. But from that point on, I guess, and for me, it's been ever since I was little, or ever since I was born, I've had what I always referred to back then as knowing, just knowing. I just knew stuff. I knew ahead. It would be psychic. So I was naturally interested in that because I didn't have anybody around me to, I guess, teach me or help me. So an out-of-body experience I would have, and I don't know if you really know Natalie Sudman. She refers to it too as a dual experience. Let's see, dual awareness. It's just
like
dual
a
awareness.
bilocation.
Yeah. So you're when you're awake, you can, and I've had several of those, usually in a traumatic situation where you've heard the term beside yourself. Oh, I'm beside myself or whatever. At the announcement of like my dad's death, I literally was behind my body at the same time. And I was sitting in a chair and I was wide awake. So that would be a dual awareness. And then, so you're totally and completely aware. I've heard people have that kind of thing when they have an accident. For my out-of-body experiences, they started out, all of these started out spontaneous. And then after that, as I got older, I guess I learned how to do it on purpose. I guess I sought the experience because it's not at all a dream. I tell people, I said, it's just like as if you close your eyes and you know where you're sitting, that it's no different. You're that much aware and you're right where your body is. And then your body will be asleep or in a deep, deep meditative sleep. And you can just literally go, you fly, float, whatever. I float, I guess you float, but anyway.
How often do you do that purposely?
I guess several times a year. Spontaneously it'll happen. And I guess
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but why only several times of the year? Is it, you would think that you would maybe do it once a week or something, but have you gotten bored of it, or it's?
That's a good question, because in the beginning, I did it a lot or tried to do it a lot and that kind of thing. And after a while, because you explore, and I did, I remember one of the first times I flew to outer space and it seemed kind of boring there. I didn't really think to know, and you really do have to have an intention where you go. And I guess I explored so much and spoke to my higher self and a lot of things like that, even spoke to God, and really discovered that we're on the other side. I don't know if you know who Anita Morjani is. She had died of cancer.
Well, I know of her. I've never had her as a guest.
Oh, she's wonderful. I just love her. But for me, all of my life, having this, when it wasn't as popular as it is now, I mean, people would look at you, and so you didn't talk about it. You didn't say anything. So you did everything privately. For me, all of the people that either have had near-death experiences or whatever, a lot of that stuff has validated a lot of things. So for one, a lot of my questions and a lot of my things are being validated everywhere. And when I was floating, one of the things that you discover is you're just pure consciousness. That's what you are. And each time I would come back to myself or whatever, but I would explore. And one of the things that kind of hit me, you don't really have smell or taste or touch or anything like that when you're in that state of being, because you're not a biological being. You're a being of light and of knowledge. And I remember, so when I would get into my out-of-body experience, state of being, I guess, I would come out of my room and I would have to literally make sure that I wasn't going to walk into my door. So I would put my hand through the door, or if it could go through the door, I knew I was in my out of body and it wasn't just nighttime. Mm. And so even that, you just float right through. And I remember everything from playing to squirrels to, like I said, traveling and things like that. But after a while it's okay I do it and have done it to kind of get answers. It's the same as if you like pray, meditate. But I've gotten so many answers and I have so much knowledge, I guess, now with a lot of that.
Have you encountered any beings while you're outside your body? Because maybe if you don't ever see anybody, it's lonely and that makes it boring.
No, and I shouldn't say boring. It's just that when we come to this state of being, we come to Earth, when we come here, when we come into this state of being, there's a purpose for it. And so you learn that you should be immersing yourself here too, and not be so wrapped up. And that's kind of what had happened. You need to have that balance. And so that's why I backed off, I guess, on it. I still engage in it. It's not like I don't do it. It's just I don't do quite as much.
When you do decide to go back a few times a year, why do you decide to do that?
Well, and it's more than a few times a year. Mm-hmm. It's the same as, I guess you're maybe want to talk to my higher self, mm-hmm. and God and my light beings, my guides.
Okay, so you do see your guides.
Oh yeah.
You do
yeah,
see beings then. Can you tell us or describe for us what is it like when you are communicating with your higher self? Because it's still yourself, right? It's kind of like a weird way to wrap your mind around it. Yeah. I mean, are you talking to you as like another energetic being standing in front of you, or how does that go down?
So we have a perception here in this fleshly biological world here, and it's not the same as when you're in that state of being. So the first time I was calling out to myself, I guess, if you will, I was looking for my guide and my higher being. I mean, I was calling out for all of them and saying, hey, where are you? Where are you? Because you literally go into your, it's a state of being. It really is. And you're vibrating in a place. And we are into our, I don't know, I guess I like to call it a bubble. It's a sphere. You're in like a sphere. That is your state of being. So it's like being in your state of being, and then you're within that. So you're within yourself. And I think that's the misnomer here, is we're always thinking that we're going to see fleshly beings. And I think there are times when you can see, excuse me, shapes or forms. And some people, we talk about that form, but we don't communicate. And the crazy thing is, a lot of this stuff we've all heard, we can communicate telepathically. That's about the best way to describe it. But that's the same thing with my higher self. The crazy thing is that I answered myself and I guess I expected a different voice. And when my voice came back to myself, it was very faint. It was very faint, and it actually was audible, but that was a very weird experience for me at first. And there was another time too where when I went into, I think there's a difference between when you're really out of, well, you're not really out of your body, but you're in your out of body state of being versus more of maybe like lucid dreaming, I guess, where you have the control. There is a definite difference between them. And so in more of a lucid dream type state, so I think there's, because of those, you know, theta and alpha and the different states, brain waves, they just vibrate on a different level. And so you're seeing form, kind of like you do in your dreams. Then you dream, then you have your dreams too. But my dreams are, it was very interesting as I grew up, because all of my dreams seemed real, and all of my dreams have always been in color. And I had never heard that. What do you mean they're black and white? Or what do you mean you don't dream? How do you not remember your dreams? So for me, it's always been this way. So having that, so listening to others, because yeah, at first you think, oh, you're crazy and stuff, especially growing up. I mean, I'm in my 60s now. So that period of time, it just, you got ridiculed. So you didn't say anything. So now it's nice that people are coming forward. And I really, really, really appreciate your platform here, that you even have this.
Thank you. So were you saying, now you kind of described in a bubble or something, do you feel like that you're an orb on the other side, like an orb of light, and you're as a higher self, you're an orb inside of an orb?
When I think it was just the same as if I guess to describe it, if I sit here in my fleshly body and then close my eyes and think internally, you're kind of inside yourself. And it's the same way. And even though you think of an orb, it was a giant orb. We're big spheres. I think of more like a sphere. And it's not just an orb. Our sphere, we're a sphere. We're kind of like a drop of water in the ocean, but we're an individual sphere, kind of floating around like a cell, if you will. Describing some of that is a little bit difficult, but that's how it was. I didn't realize that I was a sphere until that time when I started connecting. And it is a different place. It's a different state of being. That's I think the key thing right there. You're there, but you're not in a fleshly form. So you can float away from your body, but
right.
You're still connected.
What about when you saw your guides? Did they also appear as spheres? Before I went into an out of body and spoke with or talked to them, I saw more form. I wasn't even sure it was really them, but they were so much a part of me. Because I asked, and so in my just a meditative state, I saw form, and one like being, it's like I see this one here, they're there. I can look around other people too and kind of see in their aura. But so form is kind of the key, and the one light being has some form, but there's no face, there's no ears, and then my spirit guide, she has more form. But if I go into my out of body state, it's different. It would be more like a light. It's more like a light. It's more like a light. So
And the other odd thing was when I was inside that sphere, the odd thing for me was I didn't understand what all the symbols were. There were symbols, what like symbols were floating around, and I saw them kind of as symbols. And that was very odd. I don't know if you understand what sacred geometry is. You ever heard of
I
that?
know I've heard of it. I've never actually looked into it. I think there's books about it at least, and I probably should be more aware of it. Maybe at some point I will get a guest and we can really educate me on that.
Yeah. It that's very interesting when you start looking into that and seeing and understanding, because I have a deeper understanding than most, simply because when you spend time with I guess the spirit realm.
All right, let me
But
ask,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me ask you one more thing. What is it like when you're communicating with God? How does God present himself to you? Just like a source of light?
Yeah, he has, I'll say he, but that's kind of how I always referred to God as, but I always saw God as just one big, bright light. And that's an interesting thing, because for some reason, and I don't know why, and I can only guess at this, but there was always distance. There was always like some distance, because I somehow knew that if I could fall into like a near death state and probably go home. I don't really know. It's kind of like it's kind of like going home. Once you go through the door, well, then you're not here. You're not at home anymore. And so home is different than here. Here is like being off to school. We're off to school. And I knew that since I was tiny. I knew that since I was little. I spoke to angels. So when I'm in my physical form, in my physical state of being, I could see form more. I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is. It's just, I do understand about like the geometry, the sacred geometry. And that sounds like math, but it's not really math. It's not. That's where math comes from, but it has more to do with vibration. You know, it's kind of funny when you talk about some of it with a lot of the people that have heard all the terms. But so speaking to God, it really is very much like when you go into meditative state. I remember when you say, am I really speaking to him? Is that you really speaking to me back? So I started writing what I heard in my soul when I would go into prayer, and it would come back. And it's sometimes is easier to do that from this place, to do that, than when you go there, because when you get into that other state of being. So for me, this is what I can't really compare other people's. It's hard for me sometimes to know how other people are feeling or thinking, because I've only known the way that I've been since I was little. That's the difference for me. It's like, what do you mean? How do you not know this? Or how do you not feel this way? So that's something that I think is the most interesting. So when people, I say, you know, how did they not know this before they died? They died, came back, and now they see this. So for me, it's like a place in a way. You can go up north, or you can go south, or you can fly over the ocean. And so it's, to me, in a way, it's kind of like that. And so for me, and I think that's why a lot of people, unfortunately, they struggle here on this planet. And when we do, and we come into a really, really deep, depressive state, some people unfortunately try to take their own lives and stuff. But even with that, I think sometimes, because if you're not meant to come home yet, or go home, or whatever, you won't, you know. And even Anita Morjani, when she died end stage cancer. She died and came back.
Right. Have you ever, while you're out of your body, been to other planets and seen other non-human entities, like been into other places?
In my out of body, I have, and I've tried, but here's the thing that I think is true. Like a little child can't hop in a car and drive it. They're still a little child. I think that my vibrational state or state of being is not real older, so that I can get past or go further. So I've gone, but, and I can only assume that maybe some people are able to experience that. I don't think that I can yet. And I don't push it and haven't pushed it, because that's, again, I trust that knowing that says no. And it's probably God or my guides and said, yeah, you better not. Mm-hmm. So I just go, okay. I don't question it.
Right. Have you ever seen any nefarious entities out there? Because I've had a guest on that talked about that, and he said, you see, there's good and bad people even in the spirit world, and just remember, they can't make you do anything that you don't want you to. So if you just see someone and they ask you to do something that you don't want to, you just say no, and that's kind of, that's the end of it. Is that true?
From my understanding, yes, but just like anything, even here on this earth, you can be mesmerized or whatever, or drawn in, and people in that, that frozen state is what I call it. When you're sleeping and you have that, people call it
sleep paralysis.
Yeah, sleep paralysis. You can easily move from that, but you have to be aware that you can, and that's the problem. So when you're there and you just have this real panicky feeling and you can't go, and you feel like there's this bad entity in the room, and many people have had that, but I have, like I would wake up into that now that I've been in and out of my body in my wake state, my sleep states and stuff. I know that I can move out of that very quickly, but it's similar to that. You can't always, you can get into almost like I said, mesmerized. You're not realizing, you're not aware. And maybe that's why. It's just like anything. A little kid can be, maybe manipulated or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
What about people who suffer from sleep paralysis because it's frightening for them? What advice would you give to them to not be frightened, and to maybe, if they want to go explore?
I tell people all the time that you have the ability to just quickly recognize it and say, hey, Sandy or whoever says, hey, I know that I can quickly leave this. And just by going to that, being aware of that and telling yourself that, it's like you snap out of it and you can stay in that sleep state or out of body state. And at that point you go, hey, wait a minute. I have gone into an out of body state at times where it was so instantaneously that I thought, oh, I'm floating. What am I doing? And I keep trying to stay down in my, recliner or something. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute. That's right. Oh, so I have little tricks that I try to move my hand or whatever. So if you're aware of that, do those things. That's what I tell people. Do those things, because you try to scream or yell and can't be heard and that kind of thing. So I know what it's like. I've had it, but you can instantly move from it. It's just, you have to be aware. You just have to realize where you're at and go, oh, okay. And it can, when I do that, even myself, but I've been caught in them. But that's what I think is when you think that you can't, when you find yourself in that place, tell yourself, I can quickly leave this. And that's the difference, and go, oh, I know where I'm at. And boom.
So are you saying that if, let's say, I've never had it, but if someone's in a sleep paralysis, they just are laying there, they notice that their body's paralyzed, but they're conscious, at that point, you know, I guess a lot of people panic, but you can just say, hey, if you can just realize, hey, I'm in a paralysis.
Yes.
There's no need to panic. I can either snap myself out of it or I can go explore.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Because I've done it. When I would wake into those sleep paralysis. Yes. You just remind yourself that, yep. Oh, hey. In fact, I would turn it around and I would say, oh, because it would be a spontaneous one. Those are usually a spontaneous one. And I realize and I go, hey, oh, I know where I'm at. And that the rest of those feelings and all that stuff just instantly go away and you can float. You can go into that, or you can wake up. You know, you can try to lift your hands or something, you know, try to wiggle your hands, because if you do it long enough, if you want to wake up instead, you can just wake up, and you have to kind of keep trying to wiggle your hands, but know that that's where you're at.
Cool. Well, cool.
So I've done it many times.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. I really appreciate you coming. And I'm sorry I should run to the next person, but again, thank you and have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, you too, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you again for this whole platform. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh, but one last thing before we go, I was talking about this when you were joining. How do you pronounce your last name?
Prue.
Prue. Okay.
It's French. Yeah.
French. Okay. All right. All right. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So anybody who has sleep paralysis out there, I hope that helps you. And he has made it. I was thinking that we were not going to have a show or our first show with Stephen Cake not making it, but he has come through. And while he's on his way, I want to ask you guys this, because I noticed recently that it gets the busiest towards the end of the podcast. See, there's like 328 people here. I'm wondering if I'm starting too early, and that's why it's so busy now. What do you guys think? Should I start an hour later instead of going 7 to 9 Central Time? I should go 8 to 10, and I'll get a bigger audience. If you guys can answer in the chat why I'm so much busier now than an hour ago, it would be great. Are you there with us, Stephen?
Yes, I'm here.
You're here. I'm glad I could count
Liam
on you.
Neeson is here again.
I mentioned you earlier in the show, and I was thinking earlier, I was wondering if you were going to make it.
You wanted to know where my accent was from, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that's
it's none of your business where my accent's from. No, where's my daughter?
No, I don't recognize it still. I thought it was Jack Nicholson.
That was Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson, okay.
Yeah. Bananas. He's looking for his bananas.
His daughters. All right, I'm checking I don't know if you heard what I just asked, but I just asked everybody if I should start later because it's so much busier at the end always than now. And some people are saying...
You wonder, though, if it would just shift and then it would just do the same thing.
Right, if it would
That's what you wonder.
Yeah, I was just wondering, what is your opinion?
I think it's fine, but I mean, ask the audience. That's what I would say.
Right. No, some people are saying no because they're in Europe. See, someone just said I'm in Sweden and it's 4 a.m. So Jordan, sorry if I'm butchering your name, but thank you so much for staying up so late with us. And on that note, what do you have new? We were going to do this. You were going to be Paul McCartney, and I was going to interview Paul McCartney today.
Of course, we're going to do Paul McCartney.
Right? We talked about that last time. I didn't have that. So, Paul, when you guys were writing that song, "Come Together," you with us? Are you okay? So and John Lennon at the beginning of the song says, "Shoot me." I was thinking about that recently, that was almost writing his outcome.
He was just joking around because he was hanging out, too much time with Yoko Ono. When you hang out with Yoko Ono, it just drives you mad. That's why he wrote the song, happiness is a warm gun, because he just couldn't take it anymore. You know, he kept saying, "Somebody shoot me."
I was wondering, were you cringing when he said those words?
You know, we're used to it now. You know, first, we said, maybe you want to tone down that language, but it's just, he does what he does.
You have to let him be him. So,
let it be. That's what I kept saying. Let it be.
There you go. And so I've seen you active on my videos in the comments. I thank you for that. In my video comment, I saw you recently, and I said, I saw you leave a comment on one of my videos. And I said, there's Steven. He's commenting. Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think it was 2 videos back.
Ideas down. Yeah, I got ideas. Like, I'm an idea person. So I'm just writing down ideas, but I don't have the energy or the willpower to do anything about it. As I told you, my life was destroyed. So it's like, what I did for years was just try to distract myself from the pain. So I played a lot of World of Warcraft, and then I ended up writing 230 pages of how to make it better because they stopped caring over there.
They don't care.
Steve Jobs had I don't know if you saw that video with Steve Jobs, but he says when a business starts, it's the people that care about it that make all the decisions, and then they can't make the company any more money. And then the business people, the marketers take over, and they don't care about they only care about money. So they don't care if the product suffers.
Right.
And that ends up happening in all these big companies, or at least happened in Blizzard. I took their StarCraft 2 cinemas and I interpreted them because they're giving a subtle message. So in the first one, the message was they made a deal with the devil. They go, "I made a deal with the devil, Jimmy." You know, if you've seen that, I will link that one in the comments. But they sold out the company. And then the second one, they're thanking the players. And then the third one, it's like a warning that their company's too big and it's got too many problems and it's going to fail. And that's what's happening. If you look at Blizzard right now, it's like they're going through all these lawsuits, and they fired like 800 employees. And it's
what company is this?
Blizzard Entertainment. They made
Blizzard
World of Warcraft,
video.
Diablo, StarCraft.
Okay.
Like basically all the games that I loved growing up.
Right. I mean, you even think about it, like Amazon, Jeff Bezos, I think, is not even involved anymore. He's just, out doing whatever. So it's like the people that know how to make money, like you're saying, took over.
Yeah, I don't know that much about Jeff Bezos, but to become the richest woman in the world, all you have to do is divorce Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Something is wrong there.
But, you made a good point. I think you commented on the Swedenborg video. Did you see that one?
Yeah. He had a video about how, and this is about good and evil and how hell. So heaven is for people that value higher truths, greater goods, like truth and virtue and those things. And hell is for people that value lesser truths, like, they said money, fame, power, sexual desires, like those are all lower. So it's like when you have things in the wrong order, that you have because they said, did God create evil? And it's like, no, it's just that you're not supposed to be focused on those. Even the Bible says righteous anger is a legitimate thing. Jesus went around and knocked over tables, and we don't say he was a bad person. We just say that what he saw was wrong. Like some guy lunged at another guy that like killed his daughter in the courtroom, and everyone's like, yeah, why don't you just give him a minute or something just to rough the guy up? I'm not saying kill him or anything, but
right. Yeah, it's interesting. And this is interesting. I saw this I don't know if this is true, but I saw this in the news the other day. You reminded me because of the Bible that they said that they believe that Moses crossing the Red Sea is true because they found a bunch of Egyptian dead bodies at the bottom of the Red Sea. Did you see that news article?
I don't think I saw that news article.
I thought that was interesting.
But I always consider things possible. So I don't know for sure what happened there, but the prophets, I listen to the Christian prophets, and they keep saying there's going to be something big coming, but they've been saying that for a while.
What about this? I don't know if you're in the UFO world or not, but you see it's been circulating around that NASA has hired all these theologians or hired them previously to help with talking to the public about aliens.
That might not be a horrible idea because I believe that these aliens are coming from other dimensions, not necessarily other planets. And I think, because when I was a kid, I was obsessed with UFOs, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and ghosts, aliens, and like all that stuff. And the more I looked into it, the more I found that they're all kind of similar in that they're interdimensional beings. They're not like permanently here. They come and go.
Right.
And if you look at how many people have been abducted by aliens or claim to be abducted, the number is too high for, like, it would be a massive project for them to go around and abduct millions of people. It's like, for what purpose could that possibly serve?
Yeah. Well,
and why don't they land on the White House lawn? We always say that. And just take Joe Biden and go, just take him. You can keep him, just.
Well, I was going to say that, and then there's a lot of people that will say you didn't see aliens, you saw demons.
Yeah, one guy said he sliced an alien with a samurai sword, and I think he said it left some remnants on it. I don't think there was a body. I think he saw a UFO or an alien, and it's chopped it with a samurai sword, but there's no corpse, so it's not like a physical thing. It's something else.
Yeah, I always thought that, not always, but I thought recently that it makes more sense that these grays that people see are like humanoid robots, because it's easier to send robots like exactly what we're sending to Mars, the Mars rover. But if you get higher technology, you could compact it all into a little being walking around.
So one thing that you get a kind of an idea, they're obsessed with reproduction. They say they can't reproduce and they need our DNA. So in the spirit world, you can't reproduce. Like they say in heaven, there's no marriage. You don't have kids. Like God might create a soul, but you're not having kids. So these entities can have kids because they're spiritual in nature. So they see this reproduction and they're obsessed with it. They don't know how it works.
Interesting. Yeah. Maybe that's why they're I've had a handful of guests that have claimed to be having aliens are using their eggs, female, to create hybrids.
And they never get to bring them back. It's always like, oh, under ship, we'll let you hold it or something like that.
Right.
And it's always disturbing. None of this is I just watched a guy, he said he worked at Area 51, and he described these aliens, and it starts off kind of like, oh yeah, there's aliens, but then it starts getting disturbing where he says they'll just kill you if you touch their kids. So I mean, it gets really disturbing. Who would do that?
Wow. All right. Well, I guess we got to finish off positive somehow.
All right. You got to, Mother Mary, comfort me. That's what I do. We can work it out, man.
Did you give me a prediction for 2022 last week?
This is how I see the future, is that it's a series of free will events. So it's really hard to predict. That's why I'm hoping that people start seeing the truth that that governments have became corrupt, and they justified everything they did. They're locking down a tennis player for no reason in Australia. They got camps. So I'm hoping people just kind of wake up to that and say, look, let us make our decisions. The government's supposed to be servants of the people, not an authority to just tell us what to do at all times.
Right.
So I'm hoping people push back against that.
Right. All right, bud. Well, I appreciate you coming. I'm glad you made it. I'm always looking forward to having you every weekend.
Positive energy. And we'll let my friend say hello.
All right.
Hello.
Monique, thanks.
She moves my hand.
We've got to figure out a way to connect.
There.
We've got to get a way to communicate with Monique. We've got to figure something out.
Yeah. I mean, I can email you if you gotta. My email's my name at outlook.com. So it's.
All right. Well, maybe
thank you all. And
like I said before, maybe one time we've got to get a medium on here. Any mediums out here, be sure to be here next Saturday. Any mediums, you, me, Steven here, and we can see if we can make this happen, and we can talk to Monique. And I'm going to put it out there. There's 300 people watching. If you know a medium, the time we'll do it at the top of 8 o'clock, the beginning of the second hour, 8 o'clock. Be here with Steven, and hopefully we can make something really cool
we
happen.
Can work it out, man.
We can work it out.
We can work it out. But at a certain point, we couldn't work out anymore. We had to break it up.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
Well, they say nothing lasts forever.
Everything that's good comes to an end, so enjoy it.
Enjoy it while it lasts. All right, Steven, thanks again for showing up, bud.
Right.
You take care.
Bye.
Cheers. And on that note, thank you guys so much for being with me tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming in. I've got to move my system around so I can see what I'm doing here. So I made this new system. I could see the chat. That was great. I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging with me. Hopefully we'll get busier next week. And I have to maybe do a poll about that. Should we start later? A lot of you said yes. A lot of you said no. So it's a very hard decision to make, especially because there's a lot of people in Europe and it's super late for them. So we'll have to think about that. Otherwise, have a great week. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Take care and be healthy.